The alarm wasn't set for another 3 hours, but a sharp, insistent ringing from my wife's phone jolted me awake at 3:00 a.m. Kate shot up in bed, grabbing her cell and scrambling onto the balcony. Through the haze of sleep, I could just make out her hushed words. "Mr. Chairman, I know what time it is, but—" "Chairman," the word cut through my drowsiness like a shot of adrenaline. My wife was an elementary school teacher. What chairman would be calling her in the middle of the night? Kate stayed on the balcony for nearly half an hour. Her voice was a low murmur, but I caught snippets carried on the still night air. Merger. Stock price. The board. When she finally slid back into bed, I rolled over, feigning a grogginess I no longer felt. "Who was that? Calling so late?" "Just Principal Thompson from school," she said, her voice perfectly even. "Big meeting tomorrow." A cold knot formed in my stomach. In 3 years of marriage, she'd never once mentioned her principal calling her at 3:00 a.m. The next morning, Kate was up earlier than usual. She was wearing a tailored power suit I'd never seen before, her makeup flawless. "That's a nice suit. Is it new?" I asked, testing the waters. "Yeah, I picked it up at the mall after work yesterday," she replied breezily. But I knew she'd been home by 6 the previous evening. There was no time for her to have gone to the mall. As soon as she left, I called her school. "Hi, I was wondering if Catherine Miller has classes today." The teacher on the other end paused. "Catherine Miller? I'm sorry, but we don't have a teacher by that name here." The phone nearly slipped from my hand. "No teacher by that name." Then where'd she been going every day for the last 3 years? I forced myself to breathe, to think. I replayed the last 3 years in my mind, searching for the cracks I'd missed. Kate's salary was supposedly around $5,000 a month, but our expenses far exceeded our combined income. She always said her father helped out, but her dad, Robert Reed, ran a small auto repair garage out in the suburbs. Business was steady, but not that good. Then there were the excuses. Every time I suggested visiting her at school, she'd find a reason to put me off, claiming the administration was strict about visitors. It all seemed so suspicious now. I had to know. I decided to follow her. At 10 o'clock, I drove to the route she normally took for work. Sure enough, I spotted her car, but she didn't pull into any school parking lot. Instead, she drove downtown and disappeared into the underground garage of the tallest, most prestigious skyscraper in the city, the Sterling Tower. Sterling Tower was prime real estate, home to the city's biggest corporations. I waited across the street for an hour. Finally, I saw her walk out of the main entrance, flanked by several men in sharp suits who treated her with a level of deference that was almost jarring. One of them hurried ahead to open the door of a black Mercedes S-Class for her. My head spun. That car was worth over $100,000, more than our condo. The vanity plate read, Vance 1. You couldn't just get a plate like that. I started my car and followed. The Mercedes wound through the city before pulling up to a high-end restaurant. Through the plate glass window, I saw Kate seated in a private booth across from a man in his 40s. He was toasting her with a glass of wine, the two of them laughing like old friends. I snapped a picture with my phone. At 3 in the afternoon, Kate emerged from the restaurant and got back into the Mercedes. This time, it headed for the suburbs. I kept my distance, following them to a secluded cul-de-sac where the car stopped in front of a sprawling, modern mansion. It was huge, at least 5,000 square feet, with manicure gardens. A place like that had to be worth at least $3 million. Kate got out, pulled a key from her purse, and let herself in. A key. She had a key to this mansion. I sat in my car, my mind a complete blank. For 3 years, we'd lived in a cramped one-bedroom condo, chipping away at a mortgage every month. Kate was always talking about saving up so we could one day afford a bigger place. And all this time, she had a key to a $3 million mansion. My phone buzzed. It was her. "Hey, honey, we're having an unexpected parent-teacher conference, so I'm going to be home a little late." I took a deep breath. "Okay, take your time." After hanging up, I decided to wait. At 5:30, a Maserati pulled into the driveway. The man from the restaurant got out, the owner of the Vance 1 plate. He rang the doorbell, and Kate answered almost immediately. They hugged at the door before disappearing inside together. My heart hammered against my ribs. My wife wasn't just lying to me about her job. She was seeing another man. Or maybe he was the one keeping her. By 7, I couldn't take it anymore. I drove home. Kate got back an hour after I did, a faint scent of a man's cologne clinging to her clothes. "How was the conference?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Good, just ran a little long," she said, heading for the bathroom. "I'm just going to hop in the shower." Over the sound of running water, I picked up her phone. It wasn't password protected. I opened her iMessage. The conversation at the top was with someone saved as Rick V. The messages made my stomach turn. Rick V. How was this afternoon, beautiful? Kate, stop it. I'm still blushing. Rick V. I need you to come with me to Chicago tomorrow. Big signing ceremony. Kate, okay. I'll figure things out at home. Rick V. Your husband still doesn't have a clue? Kate, he's just a designer. Spends all day staring at blueprints. He never notices anything. Rick V. Good. Makes things easier. After this project closes, we can finally go public. My hand started to shake. I scrolled further, and the lies unraveled into a conspiracy that defied belief. Kate's real job was vice president of the Sterling Group. Her salary was $500,000 a year. And Rick V. was Richard Vance, the chairman of Sterling Group. Their affair started 3 years ago, right around the time we got married. She was saying her vows to me while she was already with him. I was a prop, a cover story. I scrolled down a few more days and saw a conversation that was even more chilling. Kate, I think Alex is getting suspicious. He asked about my new suit today. Rick V. Want me to tell him? Kate, not yet. It's not the right time. I still need him to keep my family off my back. Rick V. What's the latest with your dad? Kate, still playing the poor mechanic, tinkering away in that greasy garage. He loves the act. Truth is, he's the one who founded Sterling Group. You're just running it for him on paper. I went completely numb. Her father was in on it. He founded Sterling Group. What did that mean? It meant my father-in-law was a hidden billionaire, Kate was his heiress, and I was the clueless idiot they were all laughing at. The shower turned off. I quickly put the phone back where I found it. When Kate came out, I forced a smile. Tired? Get some rest. She leaned in and kissed my cheek. I could smell the wine on her breath, mixed with another man's scent. I fought back the urge to recoil. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I replayed the last 3 years in my head, every memory now tainted. I was a clown, working myself to the bone to pay our mortgage, brown bagging my lunch to save a few bucks. Meanwhile, my wife was driving a 6-figure car, living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, and sleeping with another man. The cruelest joke of all? I'd been dutifully handing over my paycheck to her every month, thinking I was contributing to our future. The next morning, Kate said she was heading off to school again. What's on the agenda today? I asked. Just teaching. The usual, she said, her composure perfect. I watched her apply her makeup, straighten her expensive suit, and knew she was going to meet him. Drive safe, I said. The moment she was gone, I drove straight to my father-in-law's garage. Robert Reed was working on an old motorcycle, his hands black with grease. Alex, good to see you. Pull up a chair, he said warmly. Robert, I wanted to ask you something, I said, getting straight to the point. Anything. What's on your mind? Have you ever heard of the Sterling Group? The wrench in Robert's hand slipped, scratching a deep gouge into the motorcycle's fender. He recovered instantly. Sure, I've heard of them. Big company. Why do you ask? No reason. A friend of mine was thinking of applying for a job there. I watched his face carefully. Tough place to get into, Robert said, his eyes fixed on the engine. Gotta know somebody. Your friend should probably look elsewhere. I knew it. He was lying. A small-time mechanic wouldn't know the ins and outs of a major corporation's hiring practices. How long have you had this shop, Robert? Getting on 20 years now. Business has always been good. He stopped working and looked at me, a flicker of suspicion in his eyes. Alex, what's with all the questions today? Just curious, I said with a smile. Tell me, what would you do if you suddenly came into a lot of money? He laughed. In my dreams. This garage is all I've got, son. There's no lottery ticket coming my way. Just then, his phone buzzed on the workbench. A synthesized voice read the notification aloud. Mr. Reed, chairman of Sterling Group, your car has arrived. The voice was loud and clear in the quiet garage. Color drained from Robert's face as he fumbled to silence the phone. Who was that? I asked innocently. Spam call, he said, his voice trembling slightly. These scammers are getting more creative every day. I nodded, not pushing it further. I didn't need to. I had my answer. Robert Reed wasn't just in on it. He was the puppet master, the chairman of Sterling Group. Kate was his vice president, his daughter. And Richard Vance? He was just a placeholder. In this family, I was the only one who didn't have a role. I left the garage but didn't go home. I drove back downtown and parked across from Sterling Tower. I had to see it for myself. I didn't have to wait long. Less than half an hour later, a black Rolls-Royce pulled up to the main entrance. The man who stepped out was my father-in-law, but he was a completely different person from the one I'd left at the garage. He was dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, his hair was slicked back, and he was flanked by 2 assistants. He radiated an aura of power and success. The security guards and employees at the entrance bowed their heads respectfully as he passed. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. Robert gave a slight, dismissive nod and swept into the building, his entourage trailing behind him. I sat in my car, feeling like I was watching a surreal movie. An hour ago, this man was covered in motor oil. Now, he was the chairman of a corporate empire. The whiplash of the two realities left me feeling profoundly, utterly played. At 2 o'clock, Kate arrived. She was wearing an even more expensive suit than the day before, carrying an Hermes handbag I'd once seen in a store window for $18,000. She walked into the tower without a second glance, completely unaware of me watching. I waited until 5, just in time to see Rick Vance's Maserati pull out of the parking garage with Kate in the passenger seat. They were laughing, their body language intimate and easy. I followed them to an exclusive private club, the kind of place where a single dinner cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. Through the window, I saw them in a private room, toasting with champagne. Then, right in front of the waiter, Rick leaned in and kissed her. The sight was a physical blow, a sharp, twisting pain in my chest. It wasn't just the affair anymore. It was the depth of the deception, the sheer humiliation of it all. For 3 years, I had loved this woman completely. I had willingly lived a frugal life to support her and her struggling family. My salary, $8,000 a month, went almost entirely to her after covering our basic needs. She'd always said we were saving for our future, for a bigger house and a better car. And now I knew. A single meal for her cost more than I made in a month. She didn't need my money. She was just enjoying the game. I went home at 8. Kate wasn't back yet. I started searching the condo, driven by a cold, methodical rage. Deep in the back of our bedroom closet, hidden behind a false panel, I found a lockbox. Inside were a dozen credit cards, several property deeds, and a will. The bank statements showed a combined balance of over $2 million. The deeds were for properties all over the country, with a total value north of $50 million. But it was the will that made my blood run cold. In it, Robert Reed left 60% of Sterling Group to his daughter, Catherine Reed. The remaining 40% was left to his son-in-law, Alex Miller. If Robert died, I would become a major shareholder in a corporation I knew nothing about. I kept digging and found an agreement. It was a contract outlining the terms of my marriage to Kate. The whole thing had been orchestrated by Robert from the very beginning. He thought Kate needed a normal person as a shield to protect her identity and let her experience a simpler life. I was the normal person he'd chosen. The agreement stipulated that if, after 3 years, I still hadn't discovered the truth, Kate could choose to continue the marriage or end it. If I discovered the truth, the choice was mine. The 3-year mark had just passed, and now I knew, but I had no idea what to do. Kate came home at 9:30, her face flushed from drinking. "Honey, I'm so sorry. The school had a staff dinner, and I had a little too much wine." The heavy scent of perfume and alcohol filled the air. "It's okay. Go get cleaned up," I said, my voice eerily calm. The moment she was in the shower, I picked up my phone and dialed the main line for the Sterling Group. "Hello, Sterling Group. How may I direct your call?" "The chairman's office, please." There was a brief hold, then a professional voice answered. "Chairman's office. Is Mr. Reed available? This is his son-in-law, Alex Miller." The person on the other end hesitated. "One moment, please. I'll transfer you." A moment later, Robert's voice came on the line. "Alex, it's late. Is everything all right?" "Robert, I need to see you. We have something important to discuss." Now. All right, come to the top floor of Sterling Tower. I'll be waiting in my office." I hung up and called out to the bathroom. "Kate, I'm running out to grab something. I'll be right back." "Okay, be safe," she called back. 30 minutes later, I was on the top floor of Sterling Tower. Robert's private office was the definition of opulence. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city skyline. The desk was a massive slab of Italian marble. Robert was sitting behind it in a silk robe, sipping a glass of red wine. He looked nothing like the man in the garage. "Have a seat," he said, gesturing to the leather couch opposite him. I sat down and got straight to it. "Robert, I know everything." He took a sip of wine. "Everything about what?" "About Sterling Group being yours. About Kate being a VP. About you playing pretend in that garage." Robert set down his glass and smiled faintly. "You found out a little sooner than I expected." "Why?" I demanded. "Why do all this?" "Because I wanted Kate to have a normal life," he said, rising and walking to the window. "Do you have any idea how exhausting it is to be a rich kid? The lessons, the networking, the constant pressure to be perfect. Kate lived under that pressure her whole life. I wanted her to experience something real, to find someone who loved her for who she was, not for her money." "And you chose me?" "Yes. I had your background checked. You're a good, honest man. Someone who wouldn't be corrupted by wealth. I let out a bitter laugh. Well, your daughter doesn't love me. She's with Richard Vance. Robert's expression hardened. What did you say? Rick Vance, the acting chairman of your company. They've been together for 3 years. Since our wedding. Robert spun around. That's impossible. If you don't believe me, check your daughter's phone. I forwarded him the photos and screenshots I'd taken. As he looked at them, his face contorted with fury. That son of a bitch, he seethed. He grabbed his phone and jabbed at the screen. Give me a full background and financial audit on Richard Vance. Now. He hung up and looked at me, his anger replaced by a flicker of regret. Alex, I'm sorry. I didn't consider this. Robert, I have to know. Did Kate ever love me at all? He was silent for a long time. At first, I think there was a genuine fondness, he finally said. But what? But she eventually realized that a normal life was too boring for her. She was used to the luxury, to being the center of attention. So she chose Rick Vance. It appears so. I nodded, a strange sense of clarity washing over me. At least I finally knew the truth. Our 3-year marriage had been real for me. For her, it had been a game. Robert, I want a divorce. He looked at me. Are you sure? I'm sure. All right. I respect your decision. He opened a drawer in his desk and pulled out a file. This is a transfer of 20% of Sterling Group's shares. Consider it compensation for your trouble. I shook my head. I don't want it. Why not? Because I don't want anything connected to her. Robert looked at me with newfound respect. I didn't misjudge you, Alex. You really are a good man. He paused. But I still want you to take the shares. Not as compensation, but because I need someone I can trust to help me watch over this company. What do you mean? Kate was already asleep, curled on her side of the bed, breathing softly. Looking at her peaceful face, I remembered the first time I saw her. She'd just graduated from the state university's education program, wearing a simple sundress, her hair in a ponytail. She looked so pure, so genuine. We met at a friend's party. She told me she was an elementary school teacher from a modest family, but she was passionate about making a difference in children's lives. I was completely captivated by her kindness and sincerity. Who could have guessed it was all an act? The next morning, Kate was up even earlier than usual, putting on a sleek black suit and applying her makeup with precision. Anything special planned today? I asked. A big faculty meeting at school, she said, adjusting her hair. Well, you have fun with that. I've actually got something to do today, too. Oh, what's that? She paused, looking at me. A friend set me up with a job interview. What kind of job? Head of the design department at the Sterling Group. Kate's hand visibly trembled, but she recovered in a heartbeat. Sterling Group? Isn't that incredibly hard to get into? Yeah, but it's worth a shot. Well, good luck. She leaned in and gave me a quick kiss. I've got to run. The moment the door closed behind her, I called Robert. Robert, I need a favor. Name it. I want to see how Kate reacts when she finds out I'm coming to Sterling. Good idea. I'll have someone keep an eye on her today. At 10 o'clock, I arrived at Sterling Tower as planned. Robert was waiting for me in the chairman's office. Welcome to the Sterling Group, Alex, he said, shaking my hand formally. Thanks, Robert. Any news on Kate? Yes, he said, his expression grim. The moment she got to the office, she called Vance and set up a meeting for lunch. She's nervous. Of course she is. She thinks you're just some ordinary designer. If you get a job at Sterling, her cover is blown. What do you think Vance will do? We'll find out at noon. At 12, we watched a live security feed of Kate and Rick Vance meeting in the cafe downstairs. Their faces were tense, their conversation clearly heated. Can we hear what they're saying? I asked. Of course. Robert pressed a button on his desk, and their voices filled the office. Kate, are you sure your husband is interviewing at Sterling? Vance's voice was tight with anxiety. I'm positive. He had the interview this morning. Kate replied, her own voice strained. What are we going to do if he finds out about us? He won't. My father is putting him in the design department. We'll never cross paths. But he'll find out who you really are eventually. Then we'll deal with it when it happens. Besides, according to the agreement, the 3 years are up. Hearing that, the last bit of warmth in my heart turned to ice. She knew about the agreement all along. She knew our marriage was a contract. And I, like a fool, thought I'd found my soulmate. Kate, when can we go public? Vance asked. After I divorce Alex. But not yet. I have to handle my father first. What does he say? He still doesn't know about us. If he found out, he'd be furious. After all, Alex was his hand-picked son-in-law. So, when are you going to tell him? Let's wait. Right now, I need to figure out how to get Alex out of Sterling Group. How? Easy. I have veto power over a department head position. I'll just go to HR and tell them he's not a good fit. Robert's face turned crimson with rage. That ungrateful daughter of mine. He slammed his hand on the desk. I, however, felt a strange sense of calm. I was finally seeing the real Catherine Reed. She hadn't just betrayed our marriage. She was actively trying to sabotage my career. Robert, I have an idea, I said. What is it? Since she wants to block me from joining Sterling, let's play her game. How? You announce my real position as the new vice chairman of Sterling Group. Robert stared at me for a second, then a slow grin spread across his face. Brilliant. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Sterling Group's official website posted a breaking news announcement. Sterling Group Board of Directors resolution. Mr. Alex Miller has been appointed Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, effective immediately. The news sent shockwaves through the entire company. No one had ever heard of Alex Miller. Who was this guy, and why was he suddenly at the top? At that very moment, Kate was in the HR department, preparing to kill my application. Ms. Evans, regarding the application for Alex Miller, I don't think he's a suitable candidate for our company, she told the HR manager. Ms. Reed, are you referring to Alex Miller for the design department head position? Yes, that's him. Well, Ms. Reed, I think there's been a misunderstanding, the manager said, looking confused. A misunderstanding? What do you mean? Mr. Miller is our new vice chairman. The board just released the official announcement. The color drained from Kate's face. What did you say? You haven't seen it? Mr. Miller is the new vice chairman and CEO. Kate fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking as she pulled up the company website. When she saw the announcement, she looked like she was about to faint. Vice chairman? CEO? How is that possible? Alex was just a designer. How could he become a top executive at Sterling Group overnight? She immediately dialed Rick Vance's number. Rick, we have a huge problem. What is it? Alex Miller is the new vice chairman of Sterling. There was a long silence on the other end. That's impossible, Vance finally said. That's absolutely impossible. See the company announcement for yourself. I'm on my way back to the office now. Meanwhile, I was watching the whole scene unfold on Robert's security monitor. Seeing Kate's panic gave me a grim, satisfying sense of payback. What's our next move? I asked Robert. It's time for your grand entrance, he said, standing up. As the new vice chairman, you need to call an all-hands meeting and make your official debut. All right, and one more thing, Robert said, his expression turning serious. Vance is going to make a move. Be careful. I will be. At 4 o'clock, all employees of Sterling Group were summoned to the main auditorium. Robert, as chairman, spoke first. Today, I want to introduce you all to the new vice chairman of Sterling Group, Mr. Alex Miller. The room erupted in whispers. Everyone was trying to figure out who the hell this mysterious Alex Miller was. Mr. Miller is only 30 years old, but he possesses a wealth of management experience and innovative vision. I am confident that under his leadership, Sterling Group will achieve even greater heights. Now, please welcome Mr. Miller. I stood up and walked to the podium. Over 300 pairs of eyes were fixed on me, including those of Kate and Rick Vance. Kate was in the front row, her face pale, her expression a mixture of shock and confusion. Vance sat next to her, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Miller, I began. It's an honor to join the Sterling Group family. I know many of you don't know me, but I hope to prove myself through my actions. The success of Sterling Group is thanks to the hard work of every single person in this room. My goal is to work with all of you to elevate this company to the next level. Polite applause rippled through the room, but I could feel the skepticism. Most of them were still sizing me up. Now, I'd like each department head to give a brief overview of their current work. One by one, the managers gave their reports. When it was Vance's turn, he stood up, his eyes locking on me with a cold, challenging stare. Mr. Miller, I'm Rick Vance, the acting CEO. I have a question for you. Which companies have you worked for previously? What's your management experience? It was a direct challenge. I was ready for it. Thank you for the question, Mr. Vance. I've held senior management positions at several firms, the details of which the chairman is fully aware. However, I believe that as the acting CEO, your focus should be on your report, not on questioning the board's decision. Vance's face darkened. The vice chairman is right, Robert interjected smoothly. Mr. Vance, please continue with your report. Vance had no choice but to comply, but I could practically feel the fury radiating off him. When it was Kate's turn, her voice was barely a whisper. Good afternoon, leadership. I'm Vice President Catherine Reed, head of the marketing department. She didn't look at me once, clearly still reeling from the shock. After the meeting, the employees filed out. Kate and Rick Vance were the last to leave. As she passed me, Kate finally spoke. "Congratulations, Mr. Vice Chairman." Her voice was level, but I could feel the turmoil churning beneath the surface. "Thank you, Ms. Vice President," I replied, matching her calm tone. It was the first time we had spoken as executives of Sterling Group. It would likely be the last time we spoke as husband and wife. I went back to my new office, a spacious corner suite on the 18th floor. The desk was already piled high with files and reports. As a new vice chairman, I needed to get up to speed on Sterling's operations, and fast. Just as I was digging in, there was a knock on the door. "Come in." It was Kate. She had changed into a more formal suit, her makeup reapplied, but I could see the slight puffiness around her eyes. She had been crying. "Alex, Mr. Vice Chairman, am I interrupting?" "Ms. Vice President, please have a seat." I gestured to the sofa. She sat down, silent for a long moment. Don't you?" she finally said. "Know what?" I asked, playing dumb. "My real identity. My relationship with Rick. And I put down the file I was holding and met her gaze. "Yes, I know everything." "When did you find out?" 3 days ago." Kate lowered her head. "I'm sorry." "Sorry for what?" "Sorry for hiding who I was. Sorry for—" Her voice trailed off. "Sorry for cheating on me?" I finished for her. She looked up, her eyes filled with tears. "Yes." "Why?" Because I was tired of being with you." "Tired?" "Yes. You were always so frugal, so careful with money. We had to debate every little purchase that was even slightly expensive. I'm used to a life of luxury, to buying what I want when I want. But with you, I had to pretend to be a poor school teacher, agonizing over a few $1,000s. Hearing her words, I couldn't help but laugh. "So, you feel like I was holding you back?" "Not holding me back, just we're from two different worlds." "Then why did you agree to marry me in the first place?" "Because my father said it would let me experience a normal life, that I might find someone who truly loved me." "And did you?" Kate was silent. "No, you didn't, did you?" I pressed on. "Because you were never really in it." "Alex, Save it." I cut her off. "The only question I have is, what do you want to do now?" "About what?" "Our marriage." Kate bit her lip. I want a divorce." "Okay. You agree?" She seemed surprised. "Of course. You can't force someone to love you." "Then, how do we divide the assets?" I laughed again. "Ms. Vice President, what assets do you think we have to divide?" Kate froze. It was true. Everything in our name, the condo, the car, the savings, was hers. My only asset was my stock in Sterling Group, and that was a gift from her father. "I'm not taking the stock," I said. "Why not?" "Because I earned this position. It has nothing to do with our marriage." Kate nodded. "Okay, then, when should we file the papers?" "Anytime. Tomorrow." "Fine." She stood up and walked to the door, then paused. "Alex, do you hate me?" I thought for a moment. "No." "Why not?" "Because hating someone is exhausting. And besides, you gave me 3 years of happiness. At least it was for me." Tears finally streamed down her face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." She turned and hurried out of my office. The next morning, we met at the courthouse. The process was sterile and quick. 10 minutes, and it was done. We stood on the steps outside, neither of us speaking. "Alex, I hope you find happiness," Kate said finally. "You too. I'll move out of the condo. You can have it. Don't worry about it. I've already found a new place." "Oh, okay." "Kate," I said, "there's one more thing I want to say." "What is it?" "If there's a next life, I hope we meet as our true selves." She nodded, then got into a taxi. I watched it disappear into traffic, a storm of emotions churning inside me. 3 years of marriage, over in an instant. That afternoon, I was back at Sterling when Robert called me in his office. "Is it done?" he asked. "It's done." "How are you feeling?" "Relieved." He nodded. "What's your plan now?" "Focus on work. I've had a preliminary look at the company's situation. There are a lot of problems that need to be addressed. Such as Richard Vance. He's filled the company with his cronies. That's a major risk to our long-term growth. How do you plan to handle it?" "I'm starting with the finance department. I suspect he's been cooking the books." Robert looked at me with approval. "Good. You have my full support." As we were talking, his secretary knocked. "Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vance is here to see you. Send him in." Vance walked in a moment later. His expression soured when he saw me. "Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak with you alone." "Anything you have to say can be said in front of the vice chairman. He's a member of the board." Vance hesitated, then sighed. "I'd like to resign." Both Robert and I were taken aback. "Why?" Robert asked. "I just feel my vision no longer aligns with the direction of Sterling Group." It was a weak excuse. The real reason was that he knew his time was up. Very well. If you insist, I accept your resignation, Robert said. You'll need to ensure a smooth transition, of course. Naturally, the vice chairman will oversee the handover of your duties. The color drained from Vance's face. I understand. After he left, Robert turned to me. He's trying to run. He won't get far, I said calmly. I've already hired a forensic accounting firm to conduct a full audit of the company. Good, Robert said. Let him walk right into the trap. That night, I moved into my new apartment, a simple 2-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't as nice as the condo, but it was clean, comfortable, and most importantly, held no memories of Kate. Lying in bed, I replayed the events of the last few days, discovering my wife's affair, her secret identity, becoming vice chairman, getting divorced. It all felt like a fever dream, but it was real. This was the start of my new life. The next morning, I went to work as usual. In the elevator, several employees greeted me respectfully. Good morning, Mr. Vice Chairman. Good morning, I replied with a smile. My secretary had my schedule ready. Meetings with department heads in the morning, followed by meetings with key clients in the afternoon. It was a demanding job, but I welcomed the challenge. It gave me a sense of purpose. The morning meetings went well. Every department head was cooperative, except for the head of marketing. Kate seemed distracted and disengaged throughout the meeting. Ms. Vice President, how did the marketing department perform this month? I asked. It was adequate, she replied curtly. Could you give me the specific numbers? 12 new client contracts, an 8% increase in sales revenue over last month. Good. Are there any challenges the company can help you address? Not at the moment. She didn't make eye contact once. I understood her discomfort. We had just divorced yesterday, and now we were forced to interact as superior and subordinate. After the meeting, I asked her to stay behind. Ms. Vice President, let's talk. Is there a work matter you wish to discuss? She asked, her tone icy. I want to ask if you plan to continue working at Sterling Group. Why would you ask that? Because I'm concerned our personal history will affect our professional relationship. She was silent for a moment. I will maintain a professional boundary. Good. I also hope we can work together amicably. Understood. One more thing, I said. About Rick Vance. At the mention of his name, her expression shifted. What about him? He resigned. What? She was clearly stunned. He submitted his resignation to the chairman yesterday afternoon. Why? He said he wasn't a good fit for the company's direction. Kate's face was a mask of disbelief. I continued, but I suspect there were other reasons. What reasons? What do you think, Ms. Vice President? She looked at me, a flicker of fear in her eyes. She must have guessed that I knew about her in advance. I don't know. Don't worry. The truth has a way of coming out. Rick Vance's resignation sent ripples through Sterling Group. As the acting CEO, he had been a powerful and influential figure. Employees speculated endlessly about the real reason for his departure. I knew the real drama was just beginning. The next day, the preliminary report from the forensic accountants arrived. The findings were exactly what I'd expected. Rick Vance's management of Sterling Group's finances was rife with serious irregularities. Mr. Miller, we've identified several red flags, the lead accountant told me, handing over the report. Be specific. First, during his time as acting CEO, Mr. Vance personally authorized numerous large-scale fund transfers totaling over $2 million. Where did the money go? It was all funneled to a company called Vance Investments. The sole proprietor of that company is Richard Vance. I nodded. That was textbook embezzlement. What else? We also uncovered improper financial dealings between Vance and several of our key suppliers. Multiple procurement projects were approved with massively inflated quotes. How inflated? A conservative estimate would be over $5 million. And the proof. It's all here. The accountant handed me a thick binder. Bank records, contracts, invoices. It's an open and shut case. I flipped through the evidence, a mix of anger and relief washing over me. I was furious that Vance had so brazenly stolen from the company, but relieved that we had caught it in time. Is this enough to prosecute? More than enough. Good. Keep this confidential for now. I need to discuss it with the chairman. At lunch, I presented the audit report to Robert. His face grew darker with every page he turned. That bastard, he roared. I was a blind fool to trust him with my company for so long. Robert, getting angry won't help. We need to decide how to handle this. Call the police. I want him in jail. We will. But first, we need to recover the stolen assets. How? Vance doesn't know we have this evidence yet. We can get a court order to freeze his assets. Then we hand the case over to the authorities. Robert nodded. You're right. I'm putting you in charge of this. Okay. But there's one problem. What is it? Kate. Her relationship with Vance means she could get caught in the crossfire. Robert was silent for a long time. She made her choice, he finally said. That afternoon, I met with Sterling Group's legal team and began the process of freezing Rick Vance's assets. At the same time, I hired a private investigator to track his movements to make sure he didn't try to flee. I was in the middle of a call when Kate burst into my office. Alex, what the hell do you think you're doing? Her face was flushed, her voice trembling with rage. Ms. Vice President, please watch your tone. I'm working. Working? You call this working? She slammed a bank notice down on my desk. It was an order to freeze Rick Vance's accounts. I glanced at it. How did you get this? That's not important. What's important is why you're freezing his accounts. Because he's under investigation for embezzlement. That's impossible. Ms. Vice President, why are you so upset? Mr. Vance is a former employee. What does this have to do with you? My question left her speechless. From a corporate standpoint, she had no reason to be defending him. I just don't think it's right to accuse an innocent man. An innocent man? I scoffed. Ms. Vice President, do you have any idea how much money Rick Vance stole from this company? You're lying. $7 million, I said calmly. The color drained from her face. No, that's impossible. The evidence is all right here. I pushed the audit report across the desk. Bank records, contracts, invoices. It's all there. Her hand shook as she flipped through the pages, her expression shifting from disbelief to horror. How could this be? Reality is often crueler than we imagine, I said. Ms. Vice President, do you still think Rick Vance is an innocent man? Kate collapsed into a chair, all the fight gone out of her. He lied to me. He lied to me this whole time. He didn't just lie to you. He lied to this company, to your father, to everyone who ever trusted him. But he was so good to me. He bought me designer bags, took me to the best restaurants. He said he wanted to marry me. All with money he stole from Sterling Group. In other words, he was using your father's money to date you. My words struck her like a physical blow. She shot up from her chair and fled my office. I didn't go after her. She needed time to process the truth. That evening, Richard Vance was arrested by the police. The news spread through Sterling Group like wildfire. The next morning, it was all anyone could talk about. I heard Mr. Vance embezzled millions. Really? He always seemed like such an upstanding guy. You can never judge a book by its cover. Thank God Mr. Miller caught it. Imagine how much more he would have stolen. Hearing the chatter, I felt a complicated mix of emotions. I was glad to have saved the company from further losses, but I also felt a pang of pity for Kate. She thought she had found true love, only to discover he was a con artist. At 10 o'clock, Kate came to my office. Unlike the day before, she was calm and composed. Alex, thank you, she said. For what? Thank you for showing me who Rick Vance really was. I was just doing my job. No, you could have kept it from me. You could have let me make a fool of myself. I'm not that petty. She nodded. I want to apologize to you. For what? For the lies for the last 3 years. For betraying you, and for all the hurtful things I said. Let's just leave the past in the past. You really are a good person, Alex. Ms. Vice President, we're colleagues now. Let's not discuss our personal history. A bitter smile touched her lips. You're right. Actually, there's a work matter I need to discuss with you. What is it? With Vance gone, the acting CEO position is vacant. The board has decided to offer it to you. Me? She was stunned. Yes, you're the vice president and the chairman's daughter. You're the most suitable candidate. But I don't know if I can do it. You can, and I'll be here to assist you. Kate looked at me, a complex emotion in her eyes. Why? Because Sterling Group needs you. Is that the only reason? I didn't answer. I wasn't sure of the answer myself. Maybe there was a part of me that still cared. Maybe I wanted to see her become a better person. Or maybe it was just one last act of kindness from a former husband. Think about it, Ms. Vice President. Give me your answer tomorrow. Okay. After she left, I dealt with the aftermath of the Vance case. Most of the embezzled funds had been recovered, and the rest were being tracked down. With this chapter closed, Sterling Group's financial health would be much improved. That afternoon, Robert came to my office. You handled the Vance situation perfectly, he said. Just doing my job. The board is very pleased with your performance. Thank you. There's one more thing. About Kate. What about her? She came to talk to me today. For a long time. About what? She said she wants a fresh start. She wants to become a better person. That's good. She also said she hopes you can give her a chance. My heart skipped a beat. What kind of chance? A chance to start over. Robert looked at me directly. Alex, do you still love her? The question caught me off guard. Do I? After everything that had happened, I wasn't even sure what love was anymore. I still had feelings for Kate, but they were no longer pure. They were tangled with disappointment, anger, resentment, and a sliver of lingering affection. Dad, some things can't be undone. I understand that. But people make mistakes. The important thing is giving them a chance to fix them. But she hurt me too deeply. So what are you going to do? I need time to think. Robert nodded. All right, don't put too much pressure on yourself. By the way, Robert added as he was leaving, think about Kate for the acting CEO position. She needs this opportunity to prove herself. I'll consider it. That night, I lay in bed thinking for a long time. Kate wanted to start over. But was that even possible for us? The trust between us was completely shattered. Even if she recognized her mistakes, even if she wanted to change, could I ever truly trust her again? And if we did get back together, could we ever recapture the magic of those early days? I doubted it. I would never be able to forget the images of her betrayal. The thoughts settled in my chest like a lead weight. The next morning, Kate arrived at my office right on time. She was wearing a professional black suit, her makeup subtle. She looked focused. Alex, I've thought about it. About what? The acting CEO position. I accept. Good. But I have one condition. What is it? I want you to teach me how to be a good leader. I was surprised. Why? Because I've realized how much I have to learn about management. This whole situation with Rick made me see how little I truly understood about Sterling Group. That's a fair point. So, I'm asking for your help. I know it's a lot to ask, but it's not. I cut her off. We're colleagues. It's natural for us to help each other. A flicker of gratitude showed in her eyes. Thank you, but I have a condition of my own. What is it? You have to be completely committed to the job. No more distractions from your personal life. I understand, and that includes any feelings for me. Kate flinched slightly, then nodded. I understand. All right then, let's get started. For the next month, I spent 2 hours every day coaching Kate on management. We covered everything from analyzing financial statements and developing marketing strategies to human resource management. She was a diligent and hardworking student. I could see she was genuinely trying to change. During this time, our relationship underwent a subtle transformation. The initial awkwardness and distance gave way to a more natural and harmonious dynamic. We rarely spoke of the past, focusing instead on our work. Kate's leadership skills improved dramatically. She started handling complex issues independently and began to contribute insightful opinions at board meetings. The employees' perception of her also began to change. The acting CEO is really impressive these days. Yeah, she's like a whole new person. I heard the vice chairman has been mentoring her. Mr. Miller is a genius. Hearing these comments, I felt a sense of satisfaction. At least in her professional life, Kate was succeeding. A month later, Sterling Group's performance had improved significantly. We signed 30% more new clients than the previous month, and our sales revenue hit an all-time high. The board was so pleased with Kate's performance that they officially appointed her as CEO. When Robert announced the decision, his face beamed with pride. Congratulations, Kate, I told her after the meeting. Thank you, but this is all thanks to your help. No, this was the result of your own hard work. Alex, can I ask you something? What is it? Do you think I'm a competent leader now? I looked at her and said sincerely, you're an excellent leader. A complicated expression crossed her face. Then, do you think I'm a good woman? The question took me by surprise. Why do you ask that? Because I need to know if, after everything that's happened, I still have the right to be loved. I was silent for a long time. Kate, everyone deserves to be loved. Including me? Including you. Then, do you still love me? It was the one question I didn't want to answer because I honestly didn't know. This past month had allowed me to see a new side of Kate. She was truly changing, truly growing, but the scars of the past remain. The images of her betrayal still surfaced in my mind from time to time. I didn't know when or if those scars would ever fully fade. Kate, some questions don't have answers right now. I understand, she nodded. I won't push you. Thank you for understanding. Can we still be friends? Of course. Thank you. From that day on, our relationship became easier. The complicated dynamic of a married couple was gone, replaced by the friendship and camaraderie of colleagues. We worked together seamlessly. Occasionally, we'd grab lunch or dinner and talk about things outside of work. But we were both careful to maintain the boundary of friendship. And maybe, for now, that was enough. 3 months later, Sterling Group successfully acquired 2 of its main competitors. The company doubled in size, becoming the undisputed leader in our industry. Kate's leadership skills were widely recognized, and she was named CEO of the Year by a prestigious business journal. At the award ceremony, she gave me a special mention in her acceptance speech. I want to thank my partner, Mr. Alex Miller. Without his help and guidance, I would not be standing here today. The audience burst into applause. I sat in the crowd, watching the confident, radiant woman on stage, and felt a surge of indescribable emotion. This was not the same woman who had played the part of a helpless schoolteacher 3 years ago. She had become independent, strong, and capable. She had grown into a truly remarkable woman. And in the process, I felt I had found my own sense of purpose. After the ceremony, we attended the celebration dinner. "You were amazing up there tonight," I told her. "Thanks, but the real credit goes to our team." True, everyone at Sterling played a part in this. "Alex, I want to tell you something." "What is it?" "These past few months, working with you, have been the happiest time of my life." "Mine too. And even though we can't be husband and wife anymore, being your friend and partner is more than enough for me." "Kate, I know what you're thinking," she interrupted. "I'm not implying anything. I just wanted to express my gratitude. I understand. And I want you to know that no matter what happens in the future, you will always be the person I respect the most." Her words warmed my heart. "You too." We talked for a long time that night. We talked about work, about our dreams, about our plans for the future. We both instinctively avoided the topic of our relationship. We both knew that some wounds need time to heal, that some trust needs time to be rebuilt. And right now, neither of us was ready. But at least we had found a new way of being together, a way that was comfortable for both of us. And maybe, for now, that was enough. 6 months later, a major opportunity came our way. The city announced plans to build a massive new commercial complex, a project with a total investment of over $1 billion. If we could win a contract, it would double the size of Sterling Group once again. "This is a must-win project," Kate said at the board meeting. "The competition will be fierce," I cautioned. "I know of at least 5 other major firms bidding for it." "What's our advantage?" Robert asked. "Home field advantage," Kate replied. "We know this city better than anyone. We're familiar with the local policies and the political landscape." "And a technological advantage," I added. "The new construction technology we've recently acquired is state-of-the-art." "Then let's give it everything we've got," Robert declared. For the next month, Kate and I worked around the clock on the project proposal. From architectural design and budget planning to technical feasibility and risk assessment, we scrutinized every detail. In the process, our synergy became even more apparent. Sometimes, I knew what she was going to say before she even finished her sentence. Sometimes, a single glance from me was all she needed to understand my point. "You two have incredible chemistry," one of our partners commented. "Yeah, it's like you can read each other's minds." Hearing such comments always made us a little uncomfortable, because we both knew that this synergy was a remnant of our past intimacy. Even though that relationship was over, some connections are etched into your very being. A month later, the bidding process began. The 5 firms presented their proposals one by one. Sterling Group was last. As Kate stood at the podium, confidently presenting our plan, I felt an immense sense of pride. Not just because our proposal was brilliant, but because of the woman presenting it. 3 years ago, she was a schoolteacher who needed my protection. Now, she was a formidable CEO, commanding the attention of the entire room. "Our proposal is not just a plan to build a commercial complex," Kate said, her voice ringing with conviction. "It is a blueprint for the future of our city. We will integrate the most advanced technology, the most user-friendly design, and the most environmentally friendly principles to create a true landmark for this city," she concluded. The judges on the panel listened intently, nodding in approval. After the presentation, the Q&A session began. The judges posed a series of highly technical questions. Kate answered them all with precision, demonstrating a deep understanding of the project. When a particularly complex engineering question came up that she wasn't sure about, she glanced at me. I immediately stood up and provided a detailed technical explanation. Our teamwork was seamless, and it clearly impressed the judges. The results wouldn't be announced for another week. It was a tense week. We were confident in our proposal, but the competition had been stiff. A week later, the good news arrived. Sterling Group had won the bid. The news electrified the company. The office erupted in celebration. "We did it. Sterling is the best. The CEO is a genius." Kate's eyes welled up with tears of joy. This was the biggest project she had landed since becoming CEO, a definitive affirmation of her abilities. "Congratulations," I told her sincerely. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I couldn't have done this without your help." "No, this was all you. Alex, I need to talk to you." What is it? Can you take a walk with me? I nodded. We went to the quiet coffee shop downstairs. Alex, working with you these past 6 months has been an incredible experience, Kate began. For me too. But I've realized something. My feelings for you. They've come back. My heart began to pound. Kate, I know you don't want to hear this, she interrupted, but I have to say it. These past few months, I've been thinking every day how wonderful it would be if we were still married. If I had never betrayed you. If we could start over. But I know those are just ifs. Kate, why are you telling me this? Because I'm leaving. What? I stared at her, stunned. I'm moving to the United States. The company has a new project there, and I need to be the one to lead it. Why? You're doing such a great job here. That's exactly why I have to leave. Alex, I can't control my feelings for you. If I stay here, I won't be able to stop myself from trying to win you back. But I know that wouldn't be fair to you. You deserve a fresh start, a chance to find someone who will truly love you. And I need to get away from here, to forge my own path. I was silent for a long time. I never expected her to make a decision like this. When are you leaving? I asked. Next month. So soon. If I wait any longer, I'm afraid I'll change my mind. What about Sterling Group? I've already discussed it with my dad. He's going to step back in as chairman, and you will become the president of Sterling Group. Me? Yes. The company needs someone like you at the helm. But Kate said firmly, this is the best arrangement for everyone. Kate, I don't think you should change your life because of me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for myself. I need to prove that I can succeed without you. I need to prove that I'm more than just Robert Reed's daughter or your ex-wife. I am Catherine Reed, an independent, whole person. Her words left me with a mix of emotions. I was happy for her growth, but I was also sad to see her go. These past few months, even though we were just friends and colleagues, I had gotten used to having her around. I was used to working with her, debating with her, and fighting for the future of Sterling Group together. Would I be lonely without her? I wasn't sure, but I knew her decision was the right one. We both needed a new beginning. I support your decision, I said finally. Thank you, but I have one condition. What is it? Stay in touch. No matter where you are, we'll always be friends. Kate nodded, her eyes glistening with tears. Okay. Kate's departure caused a stir at Sterling Group. The official announcement was that she was heading to the U.S. to expand the business, but many employees sensed there was more to the story. Rumors began to fly. To quell the speculation, Robert called an all-hands meeting. First, let me be clear, Robert announced from the stage. Kate's move is a strategic one for the long-term growth of our company. The American market is crucial, and we need our best person there to lead the charge. Second, the company is in excellent financial health, so there's no need for concern. Finally, I am pleased to announce that Mr. Alex Miller will be taking over as president, with full responsibility for the company's operations. The announcement was met with a round of applause. Most employees respected my abilities and supported the appointment. After the meeting, I officially stepped into my role as president. The pressure was immense. Sterling Group was a vast enterprise, and managing it was a complex task. But I was confident I could do it. My collaboration with Kate had taught me a lot about management, and I had a strong team of professionals supporting me. For the first few months, I focused on familiarizing myself with the workflows and getting a deeper understanding of the company's operations. Then, I began to implement new management systems and incentive programs. By the third month, the company's performance had already shown significant improvement. Employee morale was at an all-time high. Mr. Miller, your management style is very popular, the head of HR told me. You're democratic but firm, approachable but principled. And I have to say, your partnership with the former CEO was perfect. Even with her gone, the company is running more smoothly than ever. Her words were bittersweet. It was true that without the emotional complications, my work was more efficient. But I had also lost a great partner. Whenever I faced a major decision, I still had the instinct to consult her. I pick up the phone, then put it back down. I knew she needed her space. 3 months after she left, I received an email from her. Alex, hope you are well. Work at the U.S. is progressing smoothly. We just signed 2 major clients. The international strategy is on track. I heard you're doing great things back home. I'm happy for you. Best, Kate. The email was short and formal, like a business report, but I could read between the lines. She wanted to stay in touch without making things complicated. I replied with an equally brief email, updating her on the situation at home. From then on, we exchanged an email every month. The content was always about work, rarely touching on personal matters. But through these emails, I could sense her growth. Her English had become flawless, Her global perspective had broadened, and her management skills had sharpened. She was becoming a true international executive. And I was growing too. Under my leadership, Sterling Group's performance continued to climb. We successfully expanded into several new business sectors, and the company's size doubled again. I was even named Entrepreneur of the Year. A year later, Sterling Group was the undisputed leader in our industry. Construction on our new commercial complex officially began. The success of this project marked a new era for the company. At the groundbreaking ceremony, I thought of Kate. This project was her brainchild, and now I was the one seeing it through. I knew if she were here, she would be proud. After the ceremony, I received a text message. Congratulations on the new milestone. Saw the news here in the States. So proud of you, Kate. It was the first time she had texted me instead of emailing. I could feel her excitement. I texted back, thanks. You deserve a lot of the credit for this too. She replied almost instantly. No, this is your achievement. We both do, I wrote back. Okay, we're both pretty great, she replied, followed by a smiley face emoji. Seeing it, I couldn't help but smile. It was the most relaxed conversation we'd had since our divorce. Maybe time really was the best healer. Maybe we could actually be friends. 2 years later, Kate returned. Her project in the United States had been a massive success, establishing a strong foothold for Sterling Group in the North American market. Robert decided it was time for her to come home and take on the role of general manager of the International Business Division. When I heard she was coming back, I was hit with a wave of conflicting emotions. I was excited to see her again, to see how she had changed. But I was also nervous, unsure of what it would be like to be in the same city, the same office again. Kate gets back tomorrow, Robert said, stopping by my office. Yeah, I know. Is it going to be awkward between you two? I don't think so. We're both a lot more mature now. Good, Robert nodded. The company needs you two to work together. I understand. There's something else you should know. What's that? While Kate was in the States, she started seeing someone. My heart skipped a beat. Oh, who? A Chinese-American doctor. A great guy by all accounts. I hear he's already proposed. Did she say yes? No, Robert said, looking at me intently. She said she wasn't ready. I see. Alex, do you still have feelings for Kate? The question hung in the air. For the past 2 years, I had convinced myself that I was over her. But now, hearing that she might be getting married, my chest ached with a familiar pain. I don't know. I answered honestly. If you still love her, don't let her marry someone else. Robert, it's not that simple. Love is never simple. But if you don't fight for it, you'll lose your chance forever. I need time to think. You don't have much time, Robert said, standing up. From what I understand, the doctor is planning to visit China next month. The next day, I went to the airport to pick Kate up. 2 years had changed her. She was more poised, more confident, with an international polish that was captivating. She wore a stylish beige trench coat, her long hair falling over her shoulders. She looked elegant and worldly. Alex, she said, her face breaking into a radiant smile when she saw me. Kate, welcome home. We shared a brief, natural hug, with none of the awkwardness I had feared. You look great, she said. You too. Life in the States agrees with you. I certainly learn a lot. Sterling's international presence is all thanks to you. We both work hard. On the way to the office, we talked easily, catching up on the past 2 years, her life in America, the changes in the city, the growth of the company. It felt like talking to an old friend. By the way, I said, deciding to address the elephant in the room. I heard you have a boyfriend in the States. Kate paused, then smiled. My dad told you? He did. His name is David. He's a doctor. A very nice person. Are you planning on getting married? It's not decided yet, she said, her expression growing complicated. To be honest, I'm still thinking about it. Why? Because. She hesitated. Because I realized there's still someone else in my heart. My pulse quickened. Who? You can probably guess. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a familiar tenderness. Kate. I know this is inappropriate. She cut me off, but I have to be honest with my feelings. For the past 2 years, I tried so hard to forget you. I thought I had succeeded. But the moment I decided to come back, I realized it wasn't just my home I missed. I missed you. On the plane, I kept picturing what it would be like to see you again, and I realized my feelings for you never went away. Her words sent my world spinning. But we're divorced. Divorce is just a legal document. It can't dictate feelings. Kate, we have too much history. I know. I hurt you. I betrayed you. But we can't live in the past forever. We've both grown. We've both changed. Why can't we give each other to give me one more chance? I want to start over with you. Looking into her sincere eyes, the last wall around my heart crumbled. Kate, I love you too, I finally admitted. For the past 2 years, I've been lying to myself, telling myself I was over you. But every time I thought of you, my heart ached. Every time I got an email from you, I would read it over and over. Every time someone mentioned your name, I wanted to know more. I thought it was just a habit, but now I know it's love. My love for you never disappeared. Tears welled up in Kate's eyes. Then, can we really start over? Yes, I said without hesitation. But I have one condition. What is it? This time, we start as our true selves. No lies, no secrets, no games. Okay, she nodded. I promise. And we take it slow. I need time to rebuild my trust in you. Understand. I'll prove to you with my actions that I've changed. We got out of the car and walked into Sterling Tower together. This time, we weren't entering as the president and the general manager of international business. We were entering as two people in love. We knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but we were both willing to fight for it. Because we had both learned a valuable lesson. True love isn't about the absence of pain, but the willingness to forgive and grow through it. True growth isn't about becoming someone else, but about becoming a better version of yourself. And a true fresh start isn't about forgetting the past, but about using its lessons to build a better future. Starting over wasn't easy. Despite our mutual desire to reconcile, we still ran into obstacles. Disagreements at work were common. Kate had adopted a more direct, American style of communication, which sometimes rubbed her colleagues in the home office the wrong way. Kate, your proposal is excellent, but your delivery could be a bit gentler, I advised her after one meeting. I think being direct is more efficient. Efficiency is important, but so are interpersonal relationships. Are you criticizing me? I'm offering a suggestion. It sounds like criticism. These small frictions were frequent, but we both made an effort to adjust and adapt to each other. Then there was the issue of trust. One afternoon, Kate was on the phone with an international client for a long time. Even though I knew it was a work call, a seed of doubt sprouted in my mind. Who was that on the phone? I asked later, trying to sound casual. Mr. Johnson. He wanted to learn more about our new product line. You were on the phone for a while. He had a lot of questions. She looked at me. Are you worried about something? No, just asking. Alex, if you don't trust me, we can't make this work. I'm sorry. It's just going to take some time. I get that. But you have to believe me when I say I will never make the same mistake again. Beyond these smaller issues, the biggest challenge was dealing with the shadows of the past. One evening, we passed by a restaurant we used to frequent. Should we go in? Kate suggested. No, let's go somewhere else. Why? You used to love this place. I just don't feel like it tonight. Kate understood immediately. This was where she used to meet Rick Vance. Alex, if we're going to start over, we can't keep running from the past. I'm not running. Then why won't you go in? I just don't see the point. There's a point, she said, taking my hand. We're going to go in, and we're going to sit at the exact same table where he and I used to sit. Why? Because I'm going to replace those bad memories with good ones. We went into the restaurant and sat at a corner table. This is where Rick and I used to sit, Kate said calmly. Back then, I thought he was so charming, so successful. And now, I think he's pathetic. A petty thief who used stolen money to play the big shot. Do you regret it? Yes, she said without hesitation. I regret not seeing him for who he really was sooner. And I regret hurting you. Most of all, she continued, looking me in the eye, I regret almost losing the best man in the world. Hearing her words, some of the darkness I still carried in my heart began to lift. Kate, thank you for being willing to face this. We have to face it. It's the only way we can truly start over. From that day on, we began to consciously confront the issues of our past. We talked about the painful memories, analyzed our thoughts and feelings at the time, and discussed how to avoid making the same mistakes. It was a difficult process, but a necessary one. We knew that a wound has to be thoroughly cleaned before it can properly heal. 3 months later, our relationship was on solid ground. We were more in sync at work than ever before, and we had found a new rhythm in our personal lives. Alex, can I ask you something? Kate said one evening. Anything. How do you think our relationship now is different from before? I thought for a moment. It's more equal. What else? It's more mature. We were too young before. We didn't know what real love was. And now we know that love isn't about possession. It's about support. It's not about dependence, but about partnership. Well said, Kate smiled. So, do you think we can get married? The question surprised me. You want to get married? I do, but not right away. Why not? Because I want everyone to see that our reunion isn't an impulsive decision, but a deliberate choice. I want to prove to my dad, to our employees, and to myself that we can stand the test of time. I nodded. I agree. We're in no rush. Let's wait another year. If we're still as in love as we are now in a year, then we'll get married. Okay, another 6 months passed. Sterling Group successfully went public on the International Stock Exchange, a massive achievement for our global strategy. Kate's contribution had been indispensable. At the celebration party, I publicly acknowledged her work. Sterling Group would not have the global presence it has today without the outstanding contributions of the general manager of our international business division, Ms. Catherine Reed, I announced. The room filled with applause. Kate stood up and bowed. Thank you all for your support. But I must say, Sterling's success is a testament to the brilliant leadership of our president, Mr. Alex Miller, and the hard work of every single person here. The future of Sterling Group is brighter than ever. The applause thundered again. After the party, we walked out of the hotel together. You were incredible tonight, I told her. You too. Kate, I want to say something. What is it? This past year, being with you again, has been the happiest of my life. Mine too. And I think I'm ready. Ready for what? Ready to marry you again. Kate stopped walking and looked at me. Are you sure? I'm sure. I got down on one knee and pulled out a diamond ring. Catherine Reed, will you be my wife again? Tears streamed down her face. Yes, I will. We held each other tightly. Our love had been through deception, betrayal, separation, and growth, but in the end, it had brought us back to each other. This time, we cherished it more, understood it better. This time, we knew that no matter what challenges came our way, we would face them together. Because we had both learned that the best love stories aren't the ones without pain, but the ones where love grows stronger in spite of it. 3 months later, we had our second wedding. It was a simple ceremony, with only our closest friends and family. But it was far more meaningful than the first. This time, our choice was based on a true understanding of each other. This time, our commitment was forged in the fires of life's trials. This time, our love was a union of two people who had become the best versions of themselves. At the altar, we exchanged rings and vows. For better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. We had said the words before, but this was the first time we truly understood what they meant. After the wedding, we went on our honeymoon to a quiet island. We completely disconnected from work and simply enjoyed each other's company. Alex, do you have any regrets? Kate asked one night as she lay in my arms. Regrets about what? About getting back together with me. After all the ways I hurt you. No regrets, I said, stroking her hair, because without those experiences, we wouldn't be the people we are today. We grew through that pain. If you could do it all over again, what would you choose? I would choose to be honest, to tell you my real identity from the very beginning. And then we wouldn't have had all that pain. But we also wouldn't have this deep of a love. You're right, Kate smiled. So everything happened just as it was meant to. Yes, I agreed. Everything happened just as it was meant to. When we returned, we continued our work at Sterling Group. But now, we were not just partners in business, but partners in life. We supported each other, celebrated each other's successes, and together, we built Sterling Group into a world-renowned corporation. 5 years later, we had our first child. 10 years later, Sterling Group was the gold standard in its industry. And 20 years later, we were still as in love as ever.